Hello again. This is Tim or Murdy, however you know me, from Not Your Average Netizens and YAN. I'm going to be talking about Unpretty Rapstar today. I do want to preface this with a couple things. One, I'm really tired. I got off work at 5 and it's now 7:30, so I've had a little bit of time to like chill out, watch the videos, things like that. Two, I did not get the lyrics for this. I do not speak Korean. I don't pretend to or anything like that. I understand very, very little. I just enjoy the music for what it is, so take my opinion for what it's worth. I don't have any of the lyrics. When I listened to it, there were no subtitles, so it's strictly based on performance and how I feel about their general flow in comparison to the other music that I listen to, things like that. It does not take into account, and none of my review takes into account the actual lyrical quality of their music. That is yet to be seen, at least for me. I do plan to, watch it with subtitles and everything like that, read the lyrics, but I just haven't gotten the opportunity yet. um, so, and I also want to say that I watched it out of order. It's important. I watched this out of order, and the first one that I saw was JayZ, Sua, and You Been. So I'm going to start with them first. I personally feel like JayZ blew Sua and You Been out of the water completely. I mean, she had incredible flow. She sounded great. The tone of her voice is very, very nice. She looked very natural up on stage, which I do expect considering she is a performer. She has had the opportunity to do this and everything. Um, so it's hard for me to have a lot to say about her. I really think she did great. She's definitely my favorite idol on the show thus far. Um, as for Yubin needs a lot of work. I realize that there's a lot of people who like Yubin who think that she's going to do great. For me, this showed that she's in the bottom barrel with the other bottom barrel people. Um, I don't think she was terrible, terrible, but she definitely was not good. She runs out of breath when she raps, it seems like, or she gives that impression. I realize that she has more of like a breathy sort of voice, but this was bad. It just sounded like she ran out of breath the whole time. Sua for not having any actual practice. Yuban's stage presence was good though. She did look okay on stage and everything. So I mean, she also again has experience. I expect that. Sua, for being an unexperienced trainee, I think did pretty good. She was a lot better than I expected. I definitely think that she made she made a good impression for her first performance. That being said, she was a little awkward. Again, I feel like it's to be expected. She probably has the least stage practice out of anybody else on the show, so it kind of makes sense. But she tried. Her verse sounded good. Her tone was very good. Her flow was very calm, or not calm, but very consistent and nice. I did like it. So for me, JayZ took this round, Sua second, and Yubin third. The next one I watched was Hyorin and Casper. Now, everybody wanted to see Hyorin and see how she would do, and I think it was very, very smart of Unpretty Rapstar to put her against Casper, and I'll explain why. Casper is not good. She is definitely the weakest rapper on the show. I do not like Casper. It's not that I don't think she's a good person or anything like that, but I don't think that. I think she gets more credit than she deserves. Her flow needs a lot of work. She does the thing that I don't like in trying to say a lot of things but not sounding good while you do it. Not like Outsider who can put a lot of words together and make it flow. She just kind of seems to throw stuff in there and jumble as many words in as she can, and it's hard to understand, or not understand. I shouldn't say that. It's hard to feel like her flow makes sense, like it's an actual flow, versus her saying a lot of things in a rap voice. It's kind of the feeling I always get from her. She looked super duper awkward. This was one of her better verses, but she looked super duper awkward on stage, especially standing next to Hyorin, who is very comfortable on stage already. It looks really bad. So, I mean, I think I think they really put her in a bad spot. If it was me though, and I was doing the picking for who's going against who, I would have put Yubin in this group, and I would have made it Hyorin, Casper, Yubin. I think is better, and then just have JayZ and Sua go at it. But I mean, I guess I kind of understand. But for Hyorin, I don't think she did that bad. I'm glad that she did sing, and I'm glad that it seems like she's not going to give up on singing on the show. She's going to use it as part of her um, repertoire, so to speak. I think it's a good choice, being that she is a singer, and I don't think she sounded bad. I'm curious at how much of this she wrote. I do know that she co-wrote it, from what I heard. I don't know what that actually means. I don't know how much she actually did. But I do think she sounded good. She looked very comfortable up there. She had some moments where she did the kind of like in trend, like little sing part in her flow, and I didn't like that. I think she needs to kind of stick to rapping when she's rapping, and not really do that unless she can figure out how to really flow it in there very nice. I definitely think Casper got blown out of the water here, and I don't think that Hyorin's performance was good enough to blow somebody out of the water. So I think it further proves that Casper is definitely the person who should be, if there is some sort of elimination, she should be the one on the chopping block, in my opinion. So I think Hyorin beat Casper in this, but I mean, it could have been closer if it had been anybody else but Casper. um, the next performance that I watched is the one that I was super excited for. GilMe versus Ashby. Um, Jesus Christ. Like, I am so excited for the season for these two girls. And they completely showed me exactly why I want to watch this show. GilMe not only can sing, but she can rap so well. And I like the fact that they came out and just, were a unit. And, it's not like GilMe sang and this girl can't sing, so she doesn't do anything in the hook. No, they did it together, and it was all hip hop, and I like that. I thought it was a really good way to make them look like they're competing, but like they made a song together where they benefited each other. I also think that if coming out of this show people are going to work together, this is the one. Like, GilMe, Ashby need to be a thing because they sounded really good together. I think that they have an interesting enough, or like a different style that's interesting enough but flows together well. I think they both sounded great on this beat. I love this beat. I know that it's not theirs and it's not original. This is like one of my favorite beats in a long time. So when I heard it, I was just like, oh, I'm so ready. Like, this is my party beat. I love it. So I was super happy with it. They both own the stage. Like, they were great. Super, super good. Both of their flows were super good. I don't know. It's hard because for me, GilMe is the one who should win the show. GilMe is the one that is like Cheetah for me, essentially. Because last season I was like, Cheetah has to win the show. It doesn't make sense if anybody else does. That's how I feel about GilMe and Ashby right now. I definitely think that GilMe is the stronger competitor, but only because she has more tools to work with, as she can sing and rap just as well as Ashby. I do like Ashby's voice a lot, especially in the song. This is the first time that I was ever like, yo, I actually like her voice. I think she sounded really great. I don't know. For me, this one's the push. Like, I think in this performance at least, they totally were both like a 50-50. I enjoyed both of their parts a lot. I enjoyed watching them both on stage. I do think Gilmy's a little bit better on stage, but I think Ashby is probably hasn't had as much exposure, and that's part of it. So for me, this one went really even, and they're clearly the top of the pack. I mean, 1 and 2 right here. This is how you find 1 and 2. Let's see. The next one I watched was JayZ and Kitty B. I'm disappointed in this one. I'm not necessarily a huge fan of Kitty B, but I do like JayZ a lot, and I had a lot of expectation for them to actually do something. I will say Kitty B did impress me in this performance, so it's not like I think I like her more because of this performance. But I did expect something a little bit more. I don't know. Maybe my expectations were in the wrong place, and I admit that. I like the tone of the song, though. I'm interested to see. I'm saying a lot of ums. I'm sorry. I'm interested to see if Crucial Star's kind of influence rubs off on JayZ a little bit. We got to see her sing a little bit, and her rap voice was a little more chill. She kind of like hung out with it a little more. But I don't know. I mean, it didn't really stick. It wasn't like a stellar performance to me. Kitty B, on the other hand, I thought did really well in handling her part of the stage. I thought her flow was actually really nice. It's a good change from what I'm used to hearing from her. Maybe I just haven't looked into enough of her because her single tracks kind of didn't do it for me. But I did like this. I mean, I thought she sounded really good. I thought she gave me everything I could want from this song and this particular flow. It did seem like she forgot a lyric, or maybe she stumbled at the beginning. I'm not positive. I'd like to know. So if anybody knows, or if the pause was intentional, I would love to know. Other than that, I don't think it was bad enough though to make me not interested. And maybe it was just like first time jitters. I'm like on TV and the focus is actually me as opposed to like me and 8 girls or whatever. Um, so I don't know. I thought it was good though. I liked that Highs actually sang, and we got to hear her singing voice a little bit. It's a little high for me, but I also like that instead of Kitty B just standing there, she kind of sang along in her rap voice, and I dig that. I like when rappers do that, when they're willing to kind of step out of the box. So for me, Kitty B took this round. I think it was close, probably one of the closer ones, but I definitely did like Kitty B a lot more, which is weird because if anybody reads my comments on Amona, I don't know why you would, because most of the time it's gibberish or whatever. But I did think that Highs was going to be up there with the kings of this competition, and I am thoroughly impressed by Kitty B in this one, I will say. Even though the song didn't really do it for me, I did like it. The last one is Soom or Soomin, I'm not sure what she's going to go by, versus Trudy? Yeah, Trudy. So I like the beat. It's hard to not like this beat. Born Hater was always a good beat in my opinion. I mean, you could probably argue that you could have got some better dudes on that song. Then again, I really like it, so I mean, I could do without Hanbin, but that's not the point here. Back to the ladies. I really liked Sumin's performance in this. I liked her on Show Me the Money. I thought she got robbed as well. I know everybody was all hype on Black Nut, but I don't like Black Nut at all. I think he's really terrible. He's not a bad rapper or anything, but he's a terrible human being. So I'm not really interested in hearing anything about him. And I would have much rather had Sumin go on, but she did stumble a little bit on the show and wasn't quite as good as she was here. Here she seemed a lot more comfortable, a lot more in her zone. I think she controlled the stage really well. I mean, I had a hard time paying attention to Trudy while she was on stage because I was more interested in what Sumin was doing. She was very like sweet and smiley, which is a thing you don't really see very often. It really stood out to me because she seemed like she really wanted to be there, and I think that people underestimate how nice it is to see somebody who's just like, yeah, I'm jazzed to be here. How do you feel? You know, it really lightens up the whole mood. Her voice isn't typically what I like in rap, but I think it felt more sincere because it seems more like her speaking voice or closer to her speaking voice. Like she wrote something and was like, yeah, I really love this. I'm going to go, perform this. It's not the same tone at all, but there's a couple rappers that do that kind of thing where you can totally feel like they wrote this down and were like, okay, yeah, I'm gonna go perform this, and they don't really have to put on like a fake voice or anything. They don't have like a hip hop voice, nothing like that. Like she just came out and was like, this is my flow, this is the way I sound, deal with it. I'm having a lot of fun, and I really, really like that about her. Trudy, Tasha, whatever you are, I don't know. It really, I don't know if this is really her style. If it is, fine. I mean, if this is just the way you sound, then that's just the way you sound. But she just sounds like she wants to be Tasha. Her flow is so similar to the way Tasha flows. Her voice is so similar to Tasha's voice. It's uncomfortable because it makes me just want Yoon Mireille or Tasha, however you know her. It just makes me want her. It doesn't really make me want to listen to what Trudy has. I also don't think she's as good. There were a bunch of points where she stumbled or it came off awkward like she was stumbling. I'll have to go look at the lyrics to see if the pause was there on purpose or if it was just something that occurred because she was worried or had the jitters. I don't know. But it just didn't come off well. She just came off as a really weak version of Tasha. Unfortunately, for some of the people on the show, a weak version of Tasha is still way better than like some of the other offerings that we're getting. So I wasn't super mad, but it was like a weak version of Tasha. I hope she kind of finds her lane. I hope that her whole sound and her whole gimmick isn't Tasha Jr. That's all I want. If this is who she is and this is just her style and this is the way she's always been, then there's that. And I can't really say a lot to that. I mean, if this is just how it is, then that's just how it is, and that's just how she became who she is, and that's fine. I just don't think I'm going to like her as much as I like the other people that feel a little more original. She feels very manufactured to become Tasha for me. So obviously, in case all of this sort of bashing, I don't really want to bash her because again, I don't know if this is just the way her voice is or what. If it's just the way her voice is, it's just the way her voice is. I mean, I'll have to come to terms with it and come to grips with it later. But I don't know. For now, it just doesn't do it for me. And for me, in this round, it was definitely Sumin over Trudy by a pretty decent margin. So, and that's everybody, unless I'm missing a performance. I don't think I missed any. If I did, I'll hit it at some point. I do want to bring up a couple things. Like I said, I do think that GilMe and Ashby are at the top right now by a pretty noticeable lead. I think JayZ is clearly the best idol rapper on the show. I'm putting Sua and Casper both in there in this idol rapper group. You know what? I won't put Casper in there. Whatever, she can be whatever. But I definitely think she's the best idol rapper. I don't think she sounds like an idol rapper. I think she sounds like a person who really wants to do this. I'm curious how much of her verse she wrote. That would be very interesting to me to find out. Sua was impressive for somebody I didn't have any expectations for. I don't think she's good enough to win, but I think she'll do pretty okay, and I think it'll be a good learning experience. I think she is in the perfect spot to really learn a lot. She's got incredible talent around here. If you just want to talk in pure idol talent, while people may not like them being on the show, JayZ and Hyorin being on the show are great for Sua to be around. Hyorin is clearly very talented as a singer. She did okay as a rapper, but she also has a lot of experience on the stage, and she's also come against a lot of adversity and hate from netizens. So it would be a good moment, and I don't know if she's going to get the opportunity, but if I was Sua, if I was in her shoes, I would want to kind of stick around her and like learn a little bit of the industry from her and how to deal with it, because I think Hyorin's done a pretty decent job about it. People could argue differently, but I mean, coming from talking on all the shows about how ugly she is to like kind of owning her image, I think is a big thing that people need to realize. You know, she definitely got a lot of heat at the beginning, and people weren't very nice to her. So, but yeah, GilMe at the top. I would put Ashby just under her, with Kitty B right there. Highs, JayZ, I think is definitely good. Sumin, I think, is up there too. And then it would be like Trudy. I don't know. For me, the only thing that matters is the bottom. Casper is the very bottom. You Been is just above Casper. And then you probably have like Hyorin in there somewhere. People would argue Sua somewhere, but for me, the bottom two, and you know, this was a show where potentially somebody could get kicked off. The only people I want to see go, Casper or You Been. That's it. I mean, they're the only two that I think deserve to be there, and for me, I would much rather see Casper go. But I think it does make more sense to get rid of You Been if the person that supposedly might join the show, which is the word on the street is Jiyoon from 4 Minute. If she's truly joining the show, get rid of You Been and just don't crowd it with too many idols. That's too many idols. I mean, honestly, that's too many idols. There's already probably too many. So I would say You Been needs to go in that case. If we don't actually know who the person that's coming on the show is and it's not Jiyoon, then Casper. Casper is the one that I want to see go. I think she provides the least in terms of talent. I think she provides the least in terms of stage presence, and she's kind of boring. I mean, I'm sorry. Somebody's got to say it. Nothing against her, but she didn't really give me anything that made me want to keep watching. So yeah, again, like I said, I don't know Korean. I don't have the lyrics in front of me. I didn't get to read the lyrics yet. I do plan on doing that when I get the opportunity. I just haven't had that opportunity yet presented to me. So thank you for listening. Please listen to our podcast. It kind of comes out sporadically, but typically early in the week. And yeah, this is Tim Murdy signing out.